Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another weather forecasting video. We have a lot to cover in this weather forecast. There's going to be this new storm system on Tuesday, bringing in a lot of impacts to the United States. I really think this could be a big, impactful storm for a lot of people, bringing in blizzard conditions and severe weather across basically a dual threat across the United States. Up in the Northeast, we got blizzard conditions, maybe some ice, a lot of snow for the upper Ohio Valley, and then down the deep south and over in Florida, we have the potential for some severe weather ramping up, possibly some significant severe weather. We'll have more information on that in just a few minutes. Let's go ahead and dive into the models and see what they're saying. All right, let's go and take a look at the 500 millibar maps as we always do, and let's go ahead and track out this storm system and look at its threats. So let's go ahead and progress us into Tuesday. As you can tell, our trough is over basically the central portions of the United States. Very strong low pressure system bringing a large wind gradient, just unforeseen, very strong winds of around 90 to almost 100 knots of wind up at the 500 millibar level, which is around 16,000 feet above your head. Very, very strong upper level winds. This is a neutrally tilted trough. So right now, a neutrally tilted trough is it's just digging down, going straight down. But then, as we progress it into the latter half of Tuesday into Wednesday, it starts to become negatively tilted with an amplifying jet streak and amplifying upper level winds. So around 120 knots, 130 knot winds up at the 500 millibar level. That is very, very, very strong winds. That's almost around 200 miles per hour above your head, around 16,000 feet. And then this trough becomes negatively tilted, where it's angled this way. And this means this trough is becoming more of its mature stage. So we have a mature trough moving into the United States, especially around late Tuesday into Wednesday, bringing significant threats across the United States, potentially some snowstorms up in the Northeast and some definitely severe weather down in the south and southeast. We'll look at the Storm Prediction Center's outlooks in just a few minutes, but they have just updated it, and I just took a look at it. Very, very concerned for the potential of severe weather Tuesday into Wednesday. I really am. I really think this storm could be really impactful for a lot of people. Let's go and take a look at the 850 millibar winds, which is wind shear, which is winds around 2,000 feet above your head. We have a very large area of wind shear across basically a large chunk of the United States, stretching from Indiana to Ohio all the way down to Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and Florida. And also on the backside, you also have a lot of wind shear across Texas and Oklahoma, especially over in southern portions and central portions of Texas. So this is a very concerning look. There's a lot of wind shear going on with upwards of around 70 to almost 80 to 90 knots of wind shear across the deep south over in Georgia, Alabama, northern portions of Florida, over in the Carolinas. Very, very strong wind shear, and this is going to help with the severe potential across these areas down the deep south and the southeast, like over in South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Florida. I mean, all these places are under the gun for the potential of some severe weather. Very, very strong wind shear across these areas on the whole day of Tuesday into Wednesday. So definitely, no question, we could have the potential for some tornadic development, low-level turning in the winds. So it's pretty concerning, I have to say. Let's go ahead and take a look at the dew points and see what they're saying. And, man, there's a broad area of some good moisture return from the Gulf of Mexico. Good severe weather development is very dependent on moisture return from the Gulf of Mexico. So around 60 dew points across a large area of the deep south. I mean, very, very broad moisture return. And even, look at this, it's going into the Carolinas, lower portions of Georgia, the whole state of Florida, southern portions, southeastern portions of Alabama. I mean, there's going to be a broad moisture return across a good chunk of the deep south. And anywhere in this moisture return area, from stretching from Texas, like Galveston, all the way from New Orleans, Pensacola, Florida, all throughout there is going. You guys are all under the gun for the potential for some severe weather from Tuesday into Wednesday of this upcoming week. So it's kind of a concerning look that we have right now. I always try and stay conservative with my severe weather outlooks, but this one could be really significant. I think a big nasty line of severe thunderstorms could be apparent, but that's way too far out. Just from what I've been seeing, we'll have more information on this whenever the cams and the convection allowing models come out. Right now, it's still a little bit too far out, but just taking a look at the 500 millibar maps, I mean, this is a very, very concerning look for strong winds. Not even just down here over in the deep south, but across over in western Kentucky, southeastern Illinois, all throughout here. It's because this is where the low pressure is going to track. Very, very strong low pressure system, I might add. And remember March 3rd, for my friends over in western Kentucky, we had a low pressure system directly track over Paducah. 981 millibar low over Paducah, Kentucky. And this caused very, very strong damaging winds throughout basically the whole area of around 60 mile per hour wind gust across basically the whole area. Power outages, and I don't think that's exclusive to western Kentucky or wherever the low tracks. I think this could be for a good chunk of mainly somewhere within this trough and this embedded shortwave. I mean, very, very strong winds, 5 miles above you. So it's going to be very concerning, this storm system. Let's go and take a look at the snowfalls, and let's go and look at that. All right, let's go and take a look at the snowfall totals with this storm system. Now that we've covered the severe weather threat, this storm system is really going to pack a punch in terms of snowfall across the central portions of the United States, over in portions of Oklahoma, Kansas, portions of Colorado, maybe even the Texas, I'm dumb, sorry. Lot of snow, almost around 10 inches of snow over in portions of Kansas. Really likes Kansas, central portions of Kansas. Same also goes with over in Missouri, portions of Iowa, and over in Nebraska. Pretty substantial amounts of snowfall for the central United States. But then if you go over to the Northeast and over in the Mid-Atlantic, a lot of snowfall also over in the Northeast and over in the Mid-Atlantic. Let's go and take a look a little bit of a closer view over in the central United States with our snowfall. So let's go and progress this out. Lots of snowfall over in portions of Iowa. I mean, this is very, very interesting. Portions of Nebraska, almost around 20 inches, which there's no way, I don't know if I believe that. This is going through the 15th of January, so I don't really know, but let's just go ahead and take this a little bit out to around the 11th. So over in Missouri, around 12.7 inches over in Springfield, 7.6 over in Branson, and over in portions of central Kansas, around 10 to 8 inches ranging, and then over in western portions of Kansas, around 8.8. Basically, there's going to be a lot of snow over in the central portions of the United States. I don't really know if I believe these snowfall totals. I'd say, this storm is really going to produce a lot of heavy and wet snow. So I would say around 5 to maybe around 6 inches of snow, but obviously some people really do have the potential to see a foot of snow. It just really depends. And I don't really like forecasting snowfall totals because normally they're not really that accurate. That's really accurate whenever we get into the short range models, but we're still a little bit far out. Taking a look at the Northeast for our snowfall totals, the Northeast is going to get hammered with almost around 10 inches of snow. Possibly someone could see a foot of snow over in portions of New York, central portions of New York. But very, very heavy snowfall across basically the whole Northeast United States. Definitely someone's probably going to see a foot of snow over in the Northeast. This is whenever the trough really starts becoming its later mature stage, dumping a lot of snow, a lot of cold air across here. So it's going to be a very interesting time for the Northeast and Central United States. Taking a look at the Storm Prediction Center's day 4 through 8 outlook for the severe weather, basically the whole Gulf Coast is going to be basically under a 15% severe weather risk, which is basically a slight risk. Taking a look at the day 5 risk, basically portions of central and northern portions of Florida, southern portions of Georgia, and the Carolinas are going to be under a 15% risk for severe weather, as we've talked about in the earlier half of this video. Taking a look at the 6 through 10 day temperature probability outlook from the Climate Prediction Center, a large chunk of the United States is going to be experiencing well below average temperatures, especially over in the northern plains. While if you're over in the East Coast and over in the portions of Florida, you guys are going to be experiencing well above average temperatures through the next 6 through 10 days. 6 through 10 day precipitation probability outlook. Basically, the whole United States is going to be experiencing well above average precipitation unless you're over in southern portions of Texas. One final thing before we end our forecast. This is going to be a very dynamic storm system. This is key messages through January 8th through the 10th for this major winter storm. Powerful winter storm will lead to significant impacts across the central and eastern United States. I have never seen a map like this. Potential wind hazard areas. Hazards outlook for Tuesday and Wednesday. High winds possible, at least a 40% chance. And look at the yellow. That is a large area of high winds just through January 8th through the 11th. And then a greater chance for damaging 50 mile per hour plus wind gusts in this area, and that's basically the whole East Coast and northeastern United States. That's pretty impressive. I know it's a small map to see, but that's very impressive, I will say. That's only a 40% chance right there, and that's a 50% chance. So who says this 50% chance could flip-flop and go over somewhere over here? Regardless, this storm system is going to bring in high winds across basically a large chunk of the United States. Power outages, I feel like, are going to be a possible significant hazard. Let's go and take a look at the major winter storm impacts. Expect disruptions to daily life. Over in the Northeast, again, it gets hammered with around a 80% chance of moderate snow impact, primarily snow or blowing snow for Sunday night into Thursday. That is a very strongly worded and strongly message from the Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service. That is a very impressive and very interesting outlook. The Storm Prediction Center and the National Weather Service doesn't really be that bullish about things like this. There is still some uncertainty with the exact track of this storm system. Heavy snow is likely in the higher elevations of the western United States this weekend. And then, obviously, over in the Northeast, it's going to get pretty interesting, dicey. Gusty winds are expected on the warm side of this storm, too, and may exceed 50 mile per hour and cause damage. Even outside of the thunderstorm activity, the strongest gusts are likely near the Appalachians or the east coast of the United States. I also want to point out a widespread Arctic air outbreak is anticipated across much of the lower 48 through mid-January, January 12th through the 18th. Obviously, I don't know how big this Arctic air outbreak is going to be, but obviously it's going to be pretty substantial. Forecast a strong mid-level high pressure over Greenland associated with the negative phase of the Arctic Oscillation. A predecessor, a predictor, of the weather pattern in the Northern Hemisphere favors a widespread cold air outbreak that could affect much of the lower 48 states through mid-January. Temperatures and wind chills well below zero are possible across portions of the Intermountain West and much of the Northern Plains. Storminess during this period may lead to widespread potential for hazardous winter precipitation across a lot of the Intermountain West and the interior Northeast, with flooding also possible across the eastern seaboard. Look at this map. That's a very big map for these storm systems. So we just have a lot going on with our weather storm system. Arctic outbreaks, severe weather, high winds, a lot of snow. It's going to be very, very active weather throughout the next couple of weeks into early January. I called it in my last weather forecast. We're going to be very active weather, basically for the whole time of January, and seems like I'm pretty correct. So yeah, stay safe out there, everyone. I'll be posting updates probably on Monday for our storm system. I'll have to go live, maybe. Not saying I will, but we might have to go live depending on what happens and what unfolds for our local area. I'm over in Western Kentucky. I cover portions of southeastern Illinois, southeastern Missouri, northern Tennessee, and obviously Western Kentucky. So if you guys would feel free to join me on my live streams, I'd love it. Give me some support. It'd be awesome. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day or evening. Stay safe out there. I'll be keeping you guys updated with the latest information. And I'll see you guys in the next weather forecasting video.